I think the more interesting part, and this will help me kind of transition to the next subject, the more interesting part is just thinking about Alabama with 2 brand new coordinators and a new quarterback. And you think to yourself, like, okay, here's this program that has been really the king of the mountain up until Georgia comes along in the last couple of years. And now they're going to be breaking in 2 new coordinators and a new quarterback. Then you start to think to yourself, man, Georgia is going to have a new quarterback, and Todd Monken has been flirting with some job interviews. So they may, although not official, may have a new play caller and a new quarterback. And then you look at Ohio State. And in my estimation, these are the 3 programs that are like running college football because they recruit at the highest end, and to win those conferences, these are the teams that you've got to go through. And Ohio State also going to be breaking in a brand new play caller and a new quarterback. And it just got me thinking to myself, listen, if there's a year where you might get some new blood, like we saw with TCU and to some extent Michigan, even though they were in back-to-back years, where you might get some just like craziness happen in college football, might this be the year in 2023? And I think it might be. If you're a fan of the style of season that we had, where Tennessee's relevant, playing games with huge playoff implications late, where Michigan is kind of owning the Big Ten, where USC is playing games with playoff implications, where Kansas State and TCU are playing games with playoff implications. If you enjoyed that, and judging by the ratings, people did, then 2023 might be more of the same. Now, am I suggesting that Georgia, Ohio State, or Alabama are not going to be good? Absolutely not. I'm not suggesting that at all. And in fact, Georgia has a chance to do something that nobody's really done in college football history. I mean, winning 3 straight, not at least not in like the modern area of like true college football, at least the way that I view it, kind of like post-World War II. You think of what they have the opportunity to do. They are building a dynasty. Are they going anywhere? No. Someone's going to have to beat them. Having said that, though, you get a year in which they may have a new play caller and definitely breaking in a new quarterback. And it's like, well, I'd rather play him in that season than in a year in which they've got an incumbent play caller and an incumbent quarterback. Same can be said about Alabama and Ohio State. So then you start to look around and I'm like, okay, who are the teams that might be able to take advantage of a year in which, hey, maybe you're going to host a game on the right weekend in the right moment and beat a team like Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State. And here are the teams that kind of come to mind. Florida State. I think Florida State's an interesting one. You got your quarterback coming back. A lot of hype around the recruiting class. Good sentiment around the program. Florida State's a team that could absolutely make a little bit of a run. Now, their schedule is not easy. They're going to open with LSU, and that brings me to my second one, LSU. LSU, listen, Brian Kelly had something going. Now, I've said this before, and I will continue to say it. The win over Alabama was more of the outlier for them this year than the norm, than the mean. And you just look at their year and the games that they lost and some of the games that they played, and that becomes like painfully clear. But they were able to do it. So we know, at least on the top end, that LSU has that gear. Okay, so they've got that club in their bag. Maybe LSU is primed for a bit of a run. Clemson, with Garrett Riley at quarterback, you think of, Kate Klubnik at quarterback, Garrett Riley as offensive coordinator. I think I said quarterback. Garrett Riley as offensive coordinator and play caller. Klubnik coming in there. Maybe a spark on that offensive side will be just what they need to get back to what they have been and what they had been in the 6 years previous to the last 2. How about Tennessee? Josh Heupel gets that new contract. I think that when you look at Joe Milton, the way he played in the Orange Bowl, Tennessee might be right back there. Could they make a push? Penn State. This is a team that feels like they've got their quarterback back, even though he wasn't a starter. Drew Aller is a guy that they were salivating over all year. They've got great young talent, good veteran presence on the offensive line coming back. They've got all their coordinators back. Manny Diaz worked out on the defensive side. Yurchich will be now in his 3rd year. James Franklin has recruited well. Maybe Penn State. Maybe this is their year in the Big Ten East. But really, it comes down to there's one team that I'm looking at and I'm like, okay, their schedule, their quarterback coming back, just a little bit of improvement on the defensive side, a play here or there in a close game, Oklahoma. I'm going to keep saying this. Oklahoma is my team that's going to pop. I know that they were a 6-win team. They were close to a 9-win team, close to a 10-win team, really, when you look at all their one-score games. And that could easily go the other direction. You look at that conference, and no one's going to be running away with it. It's not like they have to go play an Ohio State or an Alabama or a Georgia or a Michigan, right? They don't have that team in their conference. So OU is a team that could possibly take advantage of some chaos in 2023. And then any of those Pac-12 teams. Look at all the quarterbacks out there. That's going to be the best quarterback league in all of college football in America. And maybe this is a year where USC can get it done, although they need to improve on defense. Maybe this is the year that we are aware of Michael Penix and Washington for the majority of the year and not just late in the season. Maybe this is the year in which everyone realizes how good of a coach Jonathan Smith is at Oregon State. He's got a new quarterback in DJU who's not going to be asked to do it all at Oregon State because of their ability to run the football and control the game at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be interesting. Bo Nix back at Oregon. I think someone from the this might be the Pac-12's year to go to the playoff if you look at it through that lens. So that'll be interesting. And I think that jumping off point of new coordinators at some of those places, new quarterbacks at some of those places is interesting, especially when you look at 2023, a transition year. We don't have the 12-team playoff. It's just a 4-team playoff. And yet I feel like there's going to be more teams with a shot. And that's good. That is good for the sport. I'm here for it and hope that pans out. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here. College Football on Fox.